Good morning, everybody. This is Tonetta, your relationship coach and Speak Your Truth. I want to bring you all this bonus video this morning, and I'm still talking about, of course, communication. I know the last few days we've talked about, of course, a series of things as far as our communication and the parts of communication go and how they can affect our relationship in a positive and in a negative way. Those were, of course, verbal, the nonverbals, the paraverbals, and, of course, the listening skills. Today, we're actually, in this bonus video, we're actually talking about what are 3 things that can, of course, prevent us from communicating. I know a lot of times we think about prevention from communication. We can't talk or that kind of thing, but there's a lot of underlying things that we sometimes don't talk about that, of course, affects our relationships in varying ways. I guess I put it that way. And those 3 things, as I put in the description of this video, those 3 things are wounds, baggage, and empathy. So I just want to make sure I went over those with you. Like I said, the first one is wounds. Wounds are, of course, those things that, in my eyes, that, of course, are created back when we're a kid growing up to about 7, 8, I'll just say 10 years of age. All those things that, of course, we develop insecurities around, whether that's, of course, how our face looks, how our hair looks, how our body shape is, all those kind of things that we don't feel that we're good enough because our parents or whoever was our caretaker have told us these things or kind of hinted to those things. I guess I put it that way. And that's what we picked up on. Like I said, a lot of times our wounds, for me, like I said, developed in the first about 10 years, between 7 and 10 years of life. Like I said, they definitely affect us for the rest of our lives. I guess I put it that way, unless we decide to do something about it and, of course, create some changes. Like I said, those wounds can definitely create, like I said, a lot of insecurities within us as we go older, going through our teenage years, our preteen years, our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and on and on and on. Like I said, those wounds, unknowingly from our parents and from our caretakers, can definitely affect us. All those times that, of course, you may have been told that all you can do is just look cute, you're not smart enough, those kind of things, or you don't look good in this suit or dress or whatever it is, honey or son, go and change it. You look like whatever it is your parents have told you, or whoever those folks around you have told you. Like I said, those things can definitely shape us for a lot of our lives. I guess I put it that way, unknowing to the parents and the caretakers who, of course, are telling us these things. Of course, our teachers can, of course, shape us as well. We're, of course, in grade school during that time. A lot of teachers, well, not a lot, but there are some teachers out there who, as adults, are not fully aware of themselves, their abilities, and can see the abilities in others as well. And sometimes they, of course, project those insecurities and those things that they haven't, of course, healed from onto the students and onto those in their classroom. And like I said, a lot of those things, of course, still affect students and still affect adults and still affect, of course, those in their 50s and 60s until this day. Like I said, we definitely have to make sure that we look at those things, because I know those wounds, of course, can prevent us from communicating as well. Like I said, I know there are things that, of course, that are molded into us and shaped into us back when we were kids and those, I guess, growing up. But like I said, those things can definitely prevent us from connecting with others, from trusting others, and, of course, trying to, of course, ask for support from others. So definitely keep that in mind. The next thing I talked about, one of the bullet points is called baggage. Of course, we know that, of course, once we, of course, have all these wounds and the insecurities, and sometimes depression sets in at that young of age as well, we have all these things that's going on already that has shaped and molded us. Then we come on to the baggage. The baggage are those things that we, of course, as you get older, your preteens, your teens, your 20s, your 30s, all those kind of things where you're having, of course, relationships with other people. I know I'm talking about couples as well, but I'm going to bring in other folks as far as family, friends, co-workers, and all those kind of things as well. And this can go to any relationship, actually, especially when it comes to the baggage. Like I said, the baggage, of course, is those bags that we of course pick up along our routes and along our journeys to, of course, adulthood and beyond. The baggage can be, of course, whether we've had of course, for me, I've had a divorce in the past. That relationship was a failed relationship, I guess I put it that way. And I held on to that baggage in the beginning, back in my 20s, that kind of thing, because of all the things that were going on with infidelity and him having kids, I found out, and all those kind of things. Now, like I said, baggage is like that, or baggage is where our partner that we're with is talking about us, putting us down, demeaning us. May not be physically abusive, but of course, like I said, the emotional abuse and the emotional put downs and the emotional I guess, baggage that you can carry on with you. Like I said, all those bags that we collect, the baggage can also be, whether I know I just did mention physical abuse, that could be as well. Like I said, there's all types of baggage that we can, of course, suffer at the hands of our partners, our employers, or whoever it is that we're of course, dealing with. Of course, there's a lot of things that we can pick up and carry in our purses, carry in our big old satchels, our gym bags, and those kind of things as well. But like I said, those things, of course, build our walls that we, of course, don't allow other folks to, of course, come into our lives. And we, of course, then, of course, have issues communicating those things as well. They're usually unspoken. We don't usually talk about the fears. We don't usually talk about, like I said, I know I mentioned insecurities before as well in the wounds, but those insecurities definitely build, like I said, during our preteen, our teens, our 20s, 30s, and on up. Like I said, that's what creates the baggage that we have in my eyes. Like I said, seeing all these things as a professional social worker for the last 20 or so years, like I said, I've seen a lot of these things come up, and a lot of these things impact our ways to our ability to, of course, communicate with those that we're with, and of course to communicate our needs and our wants, and of course even open up ourselves to anyone. I guess I put it that way, since we're talking about communication. Like I said, that baggage definitely lets us know that, of course, if we, of course, keep building those walls, it's going to be hard for somebody to, of course, tap into us. I guess I put it that way. Like I said, that's something that we, of course, build. I know, of course, it comes from childhood. It comes from those around us. But like I said, all that baggage and those kind of things, those are things that we take into our journey into adulthood and beyond, into our senior years. Like I said, the history of, like I said, the pain, the fear, the shame, the guilt, all those kind of walls that we've built, like I said, that's all the baggage that we're taking into our adulthood. Then the next thing, of course, that prevents us from communicating with others, of course, or they can prevent us from fully communicating with others and opening ourselves up and those kind of things as well, is, of course, empathy. Empathy, of course, can stall the communication. If you're one that's, of course, not empathetic towards people, you can care less what they're talking about. You can care less where they've been. You can care less what they've been through. And all you care about is yourself and what you're doing, how you, of course, accomplish this or whatever the situation is. Like I said, that can definitely impact your communication with others. No one wants to be around somebody who can't even, of course, step into their shoes, and of course can't even empathize and can't even feel some type of, whether it's emotion, I guess, around whatever they've been through. Of course, if you're with your partner, you're telling your definitely sorry about that. I know I was talking about empathy as far as us opening up to our partners and how it can, of course, impact our communication. If you have a partner that, of course, is one who doesn't care about what you have to say, how you feel about anything, and all they care about is what they care about, I guess I put it that way, that's going to be hard for you to even open up, and it's going to block your communication with your partner. Sometimes people do that unknowingly, and sometimes they do that, of course, knowingly and intentionally. But like I said, that empathy can definitely block your communication with your partner, especially if you have a partner that's uncaring, that doesn't care what you've been through, that could care less about the issues that you had in the past. And of course, I know I've said it before, sometimes we do choose the wrong partners, especially when it comes to the empathy and the lack of. Like I said, sometimes people can, of course, grow to be empathetic, and sometimes they can't. And of course, you have to make that decision whatever you're going to do afterwards. But like I said, if you're having an issue with, of course, communicating with your partner, or if you're the partner that does not have the empathy, like I said, you're definitely going to have a hard time with your partner that you're with opening up to you and wanting to, of course, share things with you, wanting to, of course, be honest with you and transparent with you. That's going to be very hard to do. Like I said, those are definitely three things that I know that can definitely prevent us from fully communicating or communicating at all with each other on an intimate level. And like I said, those things were wounds, baggage, and empathy. And I know you're probably wondering, like, okay, all these things were, of course, bad things. How in the world can I even get past the part to communicate? I know these are, of course, bad things. We, of course, have to talk about the bad in order to get to the good. I put it that way. And like I said, what's needed is, of course, a lot of healing, of course. We always talk about healing and how in the world do you heal and what's the healing process and all those kind of things. It definitely is a process and it's a journey. It does not just take place one day. Healing, of course, occurs over the days, the hours, the months, the years, that kind of thing. As you're moving, of course, once you identify your issues or your challenges that you're facing with your communication, if it's something about your wounds, if it's something that you haven't, of course, dealt with it from the past, or if it's something that you haven't dealt with some of the baggage with some of your partners that you've had, or if it's some empathy that you haven't dealt with and that you don't know how to, of course, step into somebody else's shoes in order to, of course, identify with them. If it's any one of those things, you definitely, of course, like I say, have to get onto a path of healing. And that will be, of course, in a different video, but because it'll be a lot to, of course, explain right now, right here. But just keep in mind that healing is the process. Healing means that you, of course, do have to go back to look at those old wounds, to look at that old baggage and that kind of thing, to understand what happened, to, of course, figure out what lessons you learned, and to, of course, figure out how you can forgive, not the person. Of course, I guess you can forgive the person. My main thing is forgiving yourself in order to, of course, move on past that situation so those won't be road blockages for you. I know we talk a lot about forgiveness, and I'll talk about that in another video as well, but just keep in mind that forgiveness is never saying that you're going to forget what the other person have done, especially if you're trying to heal and move forward. Forgiveness is never talking about what that, I guess, saying that you're going to not hold that person accountable, or that you're not going to, of course, forget what that person have done, all those kind of things. Forgiveness mainly means that you're, of course, forgiving the situation, whatever lessons that you've learned, of course, I guess, to take those lessons with you in order for you to, of course, move forward in your path, not for your partner or your past, whoever it was, or parents or whoever it was, to, of course, say that they forgive you, or honey, I'm sorry. You may never get those things. But like I said, forgiveness is always for you, in order for you to move forward in your healing journey, and not for that other person, regardless of what happened, regardless of what the situation was. Forgiveness is always for you, and that's always a major part of your healing journey. I know some people, I can't forgive somebody who abused me years ago. At some point, if you want to move forward and not have those blockages of fear, having those blockages of can't love the next person, or can't even allow anybody to even come back into your life to even be a partner to love you, or if you're still stuck in bitterness and resentment and hate and anger and all those things, at some point, yes, they're going to start coming out in your daily actions, and it's going to be negative to those who you interact with. So definitely keep that in mind. So like I said before, the healing, of course, is something that is needed to be done in order for you to, of course, start improving your communication with others and your connectedness with others. Also, what's needed is honesty and transparency. I know I just talked about healing and forgiveness and all those kind of things, and honesty and transparency usually comes along when you are, of course, going through your healing processes and your healing journeys and that kind of thing as well. Of course, you're, of course, working on your honesty, working on yourself, finding out who you are and how you can best present yourself to the world, given all the things that you've been through. Like I said, the honesty and the transparency, of course, will definitely come with that. I know in the beginning it may not be easy to, of course, open up to, of course, tell somebody what happened in your past, that kind of thing, and how it's affecting you now. But of course, if you're partnering up with somebody, you're married, or you're in a committed relationship, how do you expect that person to even know what you've been through and know how it affects you if they have no idea what even happened? You're, of course, may have an attitude. You may still be bitter. You may still treat your partner like a child, or don't care about your partner, or those kind of things, or never let your partner get too close. How do you expect all those things to happen? Like I said, you definitely have to start being open and honest and transparent with your partner in order for those things to, of course, flow through and to, of course, get easier, and to, of course, let your partner know what you've been through so they can know best how to handle you and deal with you. I guess I put it that way, in those kind of terms. So like I said, those are the things that I have for this video. And I definitely want to make sure that I talk to you about, because I know I put this in the description of the video as well, about, of course, my new course. And it's called Unpacking the Baggage. This course I actually created about a few months ago, actually. But this is actually diving deeper into the improving your communication within your relationship. I know a lot of times we, of course, talk about, I guess us coaches or counselors or therapists or whatever the case may be, talk about, of course, unpacking your baggage and having good communication and doing all these things. But I had to create a process so you all can kind of know how to do that. And when you're talking about relationships and committed relationships and marriages and all those kind of things, and you're trying to figure out, of course, what's going on, how you all can best relate. You're both coming from varying backgrounds and experiences. So we definitely have to learn how to, of course, unpack that baggage to help us improve that communication within the relationship. Like I said, some of the things that actually all the things I talk about in this particular series, there's actually a 9-part series. They're all, of course, online. It's an online course, and you have unlimited access to that course for a lifetime, actually. So whenever you need it at any time, you can always go back and access it to, of course, brush up on some skills and some tools and some techniques that I talk about in there. the first thing, of course, I talk about in there, and actually the main thing I just finished talking about was that baggage. Of course, unpacking your baggage, and of course, you all coming together in your relationship to, of course, unpack the relationship's baggage. I know a lot of times, of course, every single time, all the people in the relationship, the couples, the individual people, they're coming from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different values, and they all have different experiences and different lessons. So how are you going to understand where your partner's coming from? How you even want to relate to your partner if you have no idea what their baggage was, and how that's, of course, affecting their life at this time? And of course, your partner would have to be honest with you, of course, to unpack that baggage, to let you know, honey, I was raped at this age. That's why I don't like for you to touch my behind or touch my breast or that kind of thing when we're trying to be intimate. All those kind of things. You have to, like I said, all those things affect us at some point, and they do come out in our relationships. And like I said, that was the main gist of me creating this actual course, Unpacking the Baggage. What's also talked about in here is, of course, talking about our rebuilding the trust. I know a lot of times in many relationships, the trust is lost. The trust is lost because some partner may have stepped out in the relationship to, of course, have sex with someone else, and broke the commitment, broke the vows, that kind of thing. Or you're in a relationship where some small things have added up to bigger things. I guess I put it that way. You're constantly calling your partner. You don't get a call back to say, honey, I made it safe, I'm here, I'm there. Or you call your partner, I thought you were going to the store, they're over their friend's house. All those kind of things, all those little things, and especially the big thing with infidelity as well, they can definitely affect the trust within our relationships. So how do you rebuild that trust? Like I said, that's one thing that I definitely talk about in this series as well. Also, setting boundaries. I know a lot of times that we, of course, enter relationships and try to mesh together, which that's fine. But we, of course, always come in with our own set of boundaries, with our own set of non-negotiables. But sometimes we, of course, don't even look back at those things once we're talking to our partner and things are going on and all this stuff is happening and we have no idea what happened to our boundaries. I help you, of course, reestablish and reset your boundaries for yourself and for your relationship as well, so that you all can better, of course, communicate and better unpack your bags and, of course, better move forward. I talked about needs. Of course, we always know that men and women, of course, have so many needs in the relationship, whether there's intimate needs, romantic needs, sexual needs, needs around the house, of course, helping with the dishes and cleaning up and those kind of things. We all have needs within the relationship that sometimes we forget about, and sometimes we have no idea how to even communicate to our partner about. Like I said, I definitely talk about those needs and how you can, of course, best, and I go over, I believe it was 7 or 8 different needs that you can, of course, look at in your own life to see what your needs are and how you can best communicate those to your partner. So like I said, that's definitely in there. And of course, I do talk a little bit about the love languages, because that's by Dr. Gary Chapman, because those are, of course, needs as well that we may sometimes forget and have in our relationships that we, of course, need to brush up on and remember and be able to, of course, like I said, tell our partner those things and communicate those things as well, so that we can get our needs met and everybody can be fulfilled and that kind of thing in the relationship. The next thing I talked about, of course, was creating a vision. I know a lot of times we have our own individual, because I have mine right here, my actual own vision board, your dream board, your goal board, that kind of thing. But you fail to, of course, create a vision for your relationship. All relationships, of course, have some type of vision. I don't care if your vision is a positive vision or a negative vision. It has some type of vision. And hopefully you're moving towards the positive and having a vision, creating that rock star couple status that I sometimes talk about as well. Creating a vision as far as whether you are looking at starting a business together, or you are looking at, I don't know what it is, traveling together across the world or whatever it is. Like I said, you have to have some type of vision for your relationship, and individually and for your relationship. Like I said, I definitely talk about that in this series as well. Actually, it's the entire video, actually. And also, one of the things that I know with all this communication and unpacking the baggage, I know it can always affect the sex that go, and the sex and the intimacy and the romance that goes on in our relationships. I'm sure we all kind of know that. Of course, when you're talking about sex and that kind of thing, of course, like I said, with those needs, and I also go into those sexual needs as well for men and women, and orgasms and all that kind of stuff as well. But like I said, we definitely have to start talking about sex in a different light. I know, of course, we talk about sex is pleasurable and that kind of thing, but just keep in mind that some relationships out there are sexless, barely have sex, that kind of thing. So and we always know, or at least I know, being a social worker and a coach, that the communication outside the bedroom, if you all cannot communicate and connect outside the bedroom in an intimate and romantic way, and of course an understanding and open, being honest and transparent, it's going to affect all the sex and all the romance that you all have inside the bedroom. And like I said, let's talk about sex. That particular video, we talked about all those things, how the sex how the communication can, of course, affect the sex inside the bedroom, outside the bedroom. And also, we talked about foreplay in that video as well. So like I said, that's definitely the Unpacking the Baggage series. And I hope that you all, of course, are interested in that series, because I, of course, I did put the link down below for you to go ahead and make your investment to, of course, purchase the course today if you can. So that you can start working on your relationship, especially if you're having some issues with rebuilding the trust, don't know what happened to your boundaries, don't have a vision for your relationship, and the sex is barely there, or it's not good, you're not having an orgasm, you're not getting your needs fulfilled, all those kind of things. Like I said, that's definitely all included inside of this 9-part series called Unpacking the Baggage. Like I said, I definitely want to make sure that I let you all know that was up for sale as well. And you can, of course, purchase that today. Like I said, definitely the link is down below. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I think that's it, you all. I just want to make sure that I talked to you all about today in this particular bonus video about what prevents us from communicating with our partner. The first one was, of course, our wounds, which are usually developed between the first 10 years, about the first 7 to 10 years of life. And those wounds can, of course, come from our families, our parents, our school teachers, whoever we are around at that age, that, of course, put those ingrained type kind of things into us, I guess I put it that way, sometimes negatively and sometimes positively as well. The next thing was the baggage, all the bags that we pick up along the way after our preteens, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, all those kind of things, all those bags that we pick up, like the fear, the pain, the guilt, the shame, all those kind of things along the way. Then the next one was, of course, the last one was the empathy. Of course, not empathy affecting our relationships because we're not knowing how to, of course, open up, not knowing how to, of course, be able to step into the other person's shoes to, of course, know how they felt. So we're just going through life. Oh, I don't care what you've been through. Who cares? That's stupid. That's dumb. That kind of thing. When our partner is hurting and we don't even realize or don't care to even realize how we can, of course, assist them along that path to help them heal as well. I put it that way. And the next thing, like I said, I talked about going over those barriers to communication and what can, of course, prevent us from communicating. I then went on to my new online course called Unpacking the Baggage, so that you all can, of course, know that there's assistance, that there's support, and that there's help out there for your relationships. If you're looking to, of course, move forward and stay in your relationship, and like I said, do the work and work on things. Like I said, that's definitely for purchase, and it's down below on that link. So definitely get yours today. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself off here. I just want to thank you all for tuning in today to this video. Of course, talking about, like I said, what prevents us from communicating, and then, of course, my new relationship course, Unpacking the Baggage. So like I said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video today, and of course these 3 things that I talked about as far as what can prevent us from communicating with our partners inside of our relationships. And like I said, if you're one who, of course, is in a committed relationship and you're having issues, you don't have any trust in your partner, the sex is barely there, you all are constantly fighting, arguing, yelling instead of actually talking and connecting, like I said, definitely make sure that you purchase the course down below, Unpacking the Baggage, and you're going to see my face in all those videos, just to let you know. Of course, going over some of the information I just talked to you about as far as rebuilding the trust, of course, reestablishing those boundaries, talking about sex in the bedroom, creating that vision, of course, understanding you and your partner's needs, and unpacking your baggage and the relationship baggage as well. Like I said, that's the whole gist of that entire series. Like I said, definitely get yours down below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything I've said, please place your comments down below. If you don't feel comfortable, definitely send me a message. I do reply to messenger messages as well. So definitely let me know what you all need. And once again, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all have a great and awesome day and an awesome weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.